When we do logical reasoning, our number one goal, my number one goal when I'm doing logical reasoning, and I hope that most of you, if not all of you, adopt this mentality. My number one goal is to understand exactly what the passage is saying. I don't care about the question type. I don't read the question stem first. I don't care about the answers, God forbid, at any time until I fully understand the passage. And I actually don't care about understanding the passage until I understand the first sentence. And sometimes I don't even care about understanding the first sentence until I understand the first clause. Okay, so some of these sentences are super long, and so as you're reading them, you may get to a point where you feel like you're going to have information overload if you keep reading that sentence, right? That's a sure sign that you need to stop and recap in your mind what has been said so far in terms that make sense to you. So what generally happens? I read the first sentence. I may need to read it more than once, but I read it and then I pause. There's a lot of pausing going on between sentences. It's like, okay, what did you just say? Once I feel like I understood or understand what the person just said, then I go to the next sentence. And after you've read two sentences in logical reasoning, I am often putting two and two together, right? So if someone says that all bananas are gross, and then says all gross things make you sick, well, okay, that's two sentences. If you're paying attention, you're like, okay, first sentence is all bananas are gross. I don't know if I actually agree with that, but that's what it says on the LSAT. Then it says all gross things make you sick. Again, I don't know if that's true, but it was said on the LSAT, so I'm going to accept that as true, especially if it's given to me as a premise. And then I'm going to say, wait a sec, if all bananas are gross and all gross things make you sick, then I'm going to conclude to myself, well, it must be true that bananas are going to make me sick, right? Because they're gross and gross things make you sick. If you're not doing that, if you're not understanding each individual sentence and then putting the sentences together as you read them, then you're really not prepared for whatever information comes next. So much of the work in logical reasoning takes place in that passage, and it's step by step. It's baby steps. It may feel like you're moving too slow, but if you really understand what was said in the passage, then when they ask you the question, you often know the answer before you even read the 5 answer choices, or at least as you go through the 5 answer choices, you're in a much better position to figure out which one is correct and to understand why the wrong ones are wrong. And the reality is that logical reasoning is, the whole test really, is testing your ability to read and understand things and your ability to reason through things. It's testing logic, right? So this stuff is not mysterious. It's not like, oh, gee, that's so weird that that's the answer. In the vast majority of cases, when you don't understand an answer, it's because you didn't understand exactly what it's saying. But as soon as you understand exactly what it's saying, you're like, oh, that makes sense. It's logical. Okay, so even when people are like, but D, I think D is better for some reason, they're making some obvious assumption and they don't realize it. And as soon as they realize it, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That answer actually is better, or the other answer is better than D or whatever. So the real goal here is to realize that the test makes sense. It's not some sort of mystery. And your key to unlocking that is to really understand what you're reading, and that starts with the passage.